Good morning and welcome to the online training session on how to submit a safety update and an update of a status via the new IRIS platform. This training session will be given to you by our parallel distribution business expert,
Weingartz.
Today we will cover a quick recap on the registration steps that are needed to be complete in order to get access to IRIS. We will demonstrate to you how to submit a safety update and an update of a status. And we will also inform you where to find further material on the use of IRIS. At the end of the session, you should be able to submit notifications for safety update and update of a status procedures and find the guidance material and contacts on the use of IRIS for parallel distribution processes. Just a quick recap on the prerequisite steps that are needed for you to get access to and start using IRIS. You will need to ensure that you have an active EMA account. You will need to ensure that your organization is registered in the EMA Organization Management Services. You will need to ensure that you have the appropriate user access role and affiliation to an organization, and that you have a valid EMA customer account number. On the user admin role, we would like to reiterate that this role is for approving and managing access requests for your organization. This role does not give you access to IRIS. It allows you to grant and remove access to staff in your organization for the roles of Parallel Distribution Manager and Parallel Distribution Contributor. These roles, as you know, they are required to manage parallel distribution processes in IRIS. We recommend that each organization has at least 2 people that have the user admin role. This is to ensure that the user role requests within your organization are not delayed due to absence. It is possible for one person to hold both user admin and manager roles. Requests for the first user admin role must be submitted via EMA service desk, and this follows after you have requested this role in the EMA account management portal. This request must be accompanied by a template letter, and this letter, together with your ID that is taken from the EMA account management portal, and I mean your request ID, that information needs to be provided in your request to the EMA service desk. Without this information, your first request for your user admin role will not be approved and just may stay in the system for some time. Just make sure that the first request for the first user admin role is submitted via the EMA service desk as described in the quick guide to registration on IRIS. Now I will hand over to my colleague Weingartz, who will take you through demonstration on how to submit a safety update and update of a status.
Good morning, everyone. I will now move over to the system. So I have already done the login. I'm not showing the login again now. So this, again, is the front page of the system once you log in. Now, you would go, as with other submissions, to the draft submissions, and you would go to create a new draft, and you would again have to run through these steps of submitting the applicant type, which in the case of parallel distribution would always be an organization. You would select the organization name. And again, this is as before, this is the test environment. Therefore, the data here is partially real, partially just made up data that we input into the system to be able to test it. Then you would select a location. This is relevant for other procedures across the agency. For parallel distribution, in our experience, this would not be so relevant as a parallel distributor would have one location. However, as the procedures are being homogenized across, you would still have to select, which in this case would then be the single one that shows up that's affiliated to the organization which you selected. You would select it, and now we will be running through the safety update submission. So I will go to the submission type. Here you will only see the parallel distribution relevant submission types. Currently you see all of the ones that have been implemented across the agency. So you would submit the safety update. Please note that the name of this is different than it used to be. It actually just is named safety update now rather than notification of a change due to a safety update. Now you would choose the person who is the manager for this submission, presumably yourself, and select. And then you would go to create and next. Currently now the system is in the background creating the submission form, so now it may take a couple of seconds longer as it does this before we move forward to the next step of adding a contributor. Now a contributor, as you probably know, is another person in your organization that you can add to any of your submissions who can then view and edit this particular submission. That person would not be able to finally submit the submission, however, to submit the form, however. Now, I'm going to select a contributor. The contributors that will appear here are any contributors that are registered to your company. So if I open this, 1, 2, 3, 6, however many are registered to your company will appear here, and you can select the one that you would like to add to this particular submission. So I'm selecting this contributor and I'm adding this person to my submission so that they can view and potentially edit throughout the process prior to submission. And now I'm continuing to the form. This is the submission form. Just like with an initial submission, you will here see the name of the procedure that you are currently working on, as well as the unique reference number that the system creates for this particular submission. We will now choose the parallel distribution notices for which you would like to submit the safety update. Note that the parallel distribution notices, or a notice in IRIS, is called a regulatory entitlement. So while on the front page it does say parallel distribution notice details, here it will say regulatory entitlements, which is the system name for the notices. So here I can go to add. Now, currently, as you will see the regulatory entitlements of all companies. This will be changed so that you can only see the ones of your company. Now I will search for one product, and then I will choose, obviously we are again seeing them for all companies. So I will see these, all right. Abilify or dispersible tablet and Abilify oral solution. And these are all the regulatory entitlements that you can see here for which the safety update has to be applied. So I will select those and add them to my submission. Now you can see all of them here and in the next page. And again, I will hit save and return to go back to the form. Now in the documents section, I would upload any documents that are required for this particular submission. As it's a safety update, most likely it will just be the updated leaflet. In certain cases, you would also have to provide the images of the labeling if the safety update affected the labeling as well. So you would click on Upload Documents EMA. Here, the pop-up is blocked, so that you would have to allow pop-ups for this particular... Well, it's probably best to just allow pop-ups for IRIS in general. and then allow it and upload document to EMA. The pop-up opens. Here you can see you can find a file from your computer, or you can simply drag and drop. So I have just to demonstrate, I have a file here. I will take it, I will drag and drop it into this field. You can see it was there uploading and it finished now, and you can see it's here. All you have to do now is close this window. It is now in the folder. The download document I will show you later. No, I will not show you later. However, this is relevant for all communication that you may receive from EMA. So if we needed to share any documents with you, they would appear for you in this download document folder. The virtual notice letter that you will receive will also be in this notice letter. You will no longer be receiving an email with it attached. It will show up in here. So I will confirm that the documents have been provided, and now I will confirm whether a text comparison report has been submitted. Of course, this is not relevant to, well, it is of help, but it is not relevant in terms of the fees for the safety update. So I will say yes, and then I will save and return and go back to the main page. Now I will make my declarations. These are the same for all submissions. I will tick all 3 boxes and then save and return. Now let's say you would like to save this form that you have now filled to keep a hard copy of it printed or keep it on your computer. You would say generate application form. This will save into your upload documents to EMA folder. Please note that you can only do this before the submission of the procedure. Once you have submitted the procedure, you can no longer generate the application form. So I will say yes. And it will tell me where this document is now available. I will go back to Documents, and I will open the folder. And as you can see now, you have the submission form, the application form in your folder to print, save, whatever you wish to do with it. I will close this again and go back to the main page. At this stage, you also have the possibility of withdrawing the submission. So if you say, okay, I've drafted it now, but actually I don't intend to submit this, it's become irrelevant because we want to make these products dormant, for example. To delete this draft, you simply withdraw it here. Now, my apologies, I did not mean to do that. So I closed this by accident, but as it's in draft status, it is the first one here on the list. So I will simply go to Edit Draft and go back to the submission. Now I will go to Submit the application. I will confirm that I'm the person who's authorized to do so. And then I will hit Declaration and Submission. Again, I will have to confirm that everything is fine and I do wish to submit it as it is, and submit. Now this will show up in my draft submissions, my apologies, in my ongoing submissions in a minute or two, but it takes a couple of minutes before the system registers it. So in the meantime, I will run through the somewhat new procedure, the update to the status of a notice or a regulatory entitlement, as the system refers to it. So with this procedure, you can notify us about the dormancy of any of your products. You no longer have to do this through an annual update, but rather you simply go into this procedure, you select the regulatory entitlements, and then you mark them as dormant. So it's a two-step procedure. It's very straightforward. No longer requires the annual update form or waiting for it. It would be quicker like this as well. The other status that you can indicate is if you wish to withdraw a notice completely. Now, as you know, withdrawal is permanent, and therefore we would require some sort of official confirmation from your side, which would suffice in the form of a letter which you upload into the documents folder. So again, draft submissions, I would create a new draft. You always have to run through these first 3 steps of choosing the applicant, the organization, manager, etc. So again, I am selecting the organization and its location. And now for the submission type, I will choose the update of parallel distribution notice status. I'll select that, then select myself as the manager and move forward with now the form being created in the background again. There. Now I've shown you already how to add a contributor. I will not do that again in this step, but this is the part where you could. I will simply move to the submission form now. So again, I have to select my regulatory entitlements. So I will go to add. This will also end up showing only the regulatory entitlements affiliated to your company. It will not be showing all. So I will choose a product. You can see that some of them, the ones that are dormant, are also selected, are also shown in the system. Obviously, you would not want to make those dormant again. Well, you could withdraw those, but that's it. But let's say me, this company, oops, wrong company, have chosen to make all of my regulatory entitlements of Viagra dormant. So I'm selecting all the leftover ones that are still active currently, and I'm adding them to my submission form. Now, moving back to the submission form and going to the status part. Here, it shows you the two possibilities that you have to change the status of these particular entitlements. Now, as I said, I will mark these as dormant. So I simply select dormant, and I move back to the submission form. Now, again, the documents part, as I said before, with the withdrawal, we would require an official confirmation of this withdrawal, as it is a permanent action. We would then ask you to upload an official letter from your organization to the upload documents folder. And then you would confirm that you have done so and move back to the submissions form, where then you simply go to submit application. You confirm that you are authorized to do so, and then you hit submit, and your application has been submitted. Now I will go again to my ongoing submissions. As you can see here, this is the safety update that I submitted a couple of minutes ago. You can tell by, well, the date stamp. You can see here that it's currently labeled as in progress. So once the submission has been processed by the team, the submission status here will change to closed. Here, as you can see, you can view or edit the submission. At this point, you would not be able to edit it as it is in progress. It has been submitted and is in progress and is therefore locked for the parallel distributor to make any changes. You can view or manage the contributors, and you can view or manage managers, which you can do even if this application has been submitted. So even while it is in progress, you can say, you know, I want to add a manager to be able to handle this particular submission while I take leave suddenly for 2 days. So that is not an issue. Now let's see if and there you go. You now also have the ongoing, in progress update of a parallel distribution notice status. And these are the other two procedures, other than the initial notification, that are currently available in the system. I saw this morning that the list with the safety updates has been sent out, so we are expecting to be receiving the safety updates in the upcoming weeks. I hope that you find this simple enough to use. We do know that especially the selection of the regulatory entitlements needs to be optimized a bit more, in particular that you only see your company's information, which we are working on. If you have any suggestions or there are particular views that you think are not particularly helpful to yourselves, please feel free to send us an email to alert us to things so that we can change and amend as needed. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Liv. So you will find the step-by-step instructions on the procedures that Liv was just talking about in the IRIS Quick Guide to Industry Portal Parallel Distribution. Anything that relates to the registration process to IRIS can be found in the IRIS Quick Guide to Registration. And any other parallel distribution processes related queries can be found in the frequently asked questions part on the parallel distribution webpage. If you cannot find the support that you need in any of this guidance, then please contact the EMA service desk for registration, access, or login related questions. This would be the most efficient way to ensure that you have a prompt answer to your query. And for any questions that are related to parallel distribution processes, please contact the Parallel Distribution Secretariat. This now concludes our training session, and we thank you very much for your participation and the aim to publish the recording of this session in the next couple of weeks. Thank you very much for your attention, and goodbye.
Goodbye.